sharpshooter look about them.
They're sharp. Don't you worry about that, Peter. They are very sharp.
The famous ghouls.
All right, we've got the 15 and under coming into the ring now. I'm led to believe this has been split up again, and it was great to see the three groups will be in this one, Peter. So that's if we take a guess, 35 head, 40 head, something like that to come in here. So it's very, very large. Don't forget there's a lot of food stores, there's a lot of stalls. Don't forget we've got the wood chop. There's plenty to go on here today. We've got that many things here to announce, Peter. You know, we've just got to make sure we don't forget any or we'll be in trouble. So we've got the craft markets on at the Civic Hall. We've got the wood chop competition, between 9 and 4 in front of the Tattersall. The Airtime FMX bike show outside Tyre Power. We've got the Cowgirls Australian line dancing session, same place. Then we have between 10 and 12:30 the whip cracking competition at the Clock Tower roundabout. And then we just got a number of bands playing. Kingy's pie eating competition. Now, I don't know whether you made it there last year, Pete, but actually we miss it every year, don't we?
We do, but I think the winner, he put on about 4 kilos in about 10 minutes. So he was nearly as good as a lead steer. So, but anyway, Kingy, wonderful pies wherever you go. We hear about Kingy's pies, and anyone that is hollowing out a little bit and would like to sort of address that later on, Kingy's pie eating competition, very hotly contested, and we've had all various shapes and sizes. I know you can't trust a skinny chef, but I did a fellow that won it last year. He there wasn't much of him, but he stacked away about 14 Kingy's pies. So that is a great event, and well worth one of the major things to have a look at here.
And don't forget also, Peter, the rodeo starts at 5:30 this afternoon out of the Casino Showgrounds, which is run by Bull Pit Bull Riding Rodeo. So that's another major event that happens tonight. And it's great to see that you start here at 8 o'clock and you can go through till 9:30 tonight, depending on your appetite for what goes on.
But coming in this morning, I saw it addressed as Cowboy Wars. So obviously a bit of hot competition behind the chutes over there with the boys and ladies of rodeo. But that's always one of the really, really big events of Beef Weeks, the rodeo here. And cowboys come from all over the place to still away with a buckle from Beef Week Rodeo, but heavy track yesterday at the races, mate. No joy out there. So you didn't get a chance to make anything favourite?
No. I've got a tip for today, but I'm not going to let you know what it is. One in Brisbane, a horse that's owned by a lot of locals running to this afternoon in Brisbane. It's $1 million race. So it's running in Brisbane, but we're not here to mention any names.
Is it trained up there or trained here?
No, trained up there.
Righto.
Recently won in New Zealand, so that'll be interesting. All right, so Super Saturday Street Festival sponsor is Australian Food Super. For more than 40 years, Australian Food Super has been supporting hardworking Australians across the food industry, while their roots are firmly grounded in Australia's meat industry. Today, they proudly support members working right across the food supply chain. So they've been here for a few years. It's Australian Food Super is more than just a super. It's a community that stands behind the people who power Australia's food industries. So they're about. So have a chat to them. I think we might have interviewed the main man last year. I think Peter.
We did indeed. We did indeed. And I noticed you got the world's greatest treasure up in front of you there, Mr. Tony Dean, hanging very close to you.
Reminder, we need some golden oldies in the ring.
What's the criteria there?
It's got to be over 25.
And looking good.
And looking good.
Deal. Ladies and gentlemen, Darren's got a little bit of news here off the world's greatest treasure about a very, very special event that's on a little bit later on today. And I understand there's only a few little criteria. One is that you're over 25 years of age, and secondly, that you brush up reasonably good enough to come into the main ring. So if you want to be a golden oldie presenter and
So,
parader,
Peter, does that mean Grant Shedden, like he's an old golden oldie, will he be coming in parading?
he would be the most famous golden oldie that I've ever crossed flight paths with, Grant Shedden, and I would suggest that he may go and put his stepping out gear on and show us how it's done. So don't forget, whilst we've got all these up and comers here in the ring at the moment, there is a golden oldies over 25 parader.
Hey, Peter, Gwen Dockrell was going to go in it, but she thought she was that good she shouldn't do it in the golden oldies.
What, just modest sort of a little lady or what? She must have changed her evil ways because she was quite socially excitable when I knew her.
Oh dear. But anyway, it's great to see a beautiful morning and so many people out here, Peter, and it's a credit to... And it's been a long time since you and I have sat here under a marquee with a little bit of drizzle.
Well, mate, we've had 4 seasons in one day on the odd occasion, but generally we get through it. We've done it under a tarp, I think, with about 4 inches of water running through the...
And there's something that we broke a record last year. We never had to announce a missing child.
That's true. I never thought of that, but how true is that? I think that the last one we found was up there on the roof of the School of Arts.
Yeah, there was a
building.
couple on... Excuse me. So, Peter, it's great to see we've got a photographer out there. I hope she gets the better side of you, mate, because, make sure you get one of Peter. All right, so we've got the camera lady out there doing a wonderful job.
So I am a dead set ugly man, but I love having my photo taken.
Great to see a lot of schools here too, Peter, that keep coming. But it's very interesting, and I think probably the school teachers as well as the school teachers need to be commended with the amount of children that they have to look after here at these sort of events. And, without them sharing their time and donating the time, a lot of these events wouldn't happen either. So it's great to see, I'm not going to mention any of the schools because they're all out there, and we'll probably forget one. So well done to the teachers and the parents and the volunteers that are involved with all the schools.
Look, I'd endorse that, Darren, because it's. I went through school and they just got electricity on, but things have changed so much that teachers didn't sort of take a real lot of interest in kids in those days. But by gee, now with grandkids going through the schooling system, and there's so many opportunities, and they're very, very special people, school teachers, and it's not just everyone says, it's a 8:30 to 3:30 job. Well, it's not. It's the work they put into those kids and the proof's in the pudding. And we see a fair bit of it here in Beef Week as well. So
just looking across there, I was looking at a gentleman there that the fair few generations have been showing here. And that's another thing that casino can sort of represent. There's a fair few of these stud show exhibitors that come from generational farming. And each generation has been more and more successful as they evolve in the industry, which is great to see.
And look, I think around this sort of the Northern Rivers is probably right up there with them. I know that they sort of sell succession planning and kids been interested in Queensland and that. But by gee, as you said, when you start to see 3 and 4 generations floating through Beef Week, and each year the product is probably as good or a little bit better than what Mum and Dad did, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing.
And later on this morning, Peter Brody, the president, is going to tell us how many sausages, how many chocolate milks, and everything else they got yesterday morning. He's come good after 3 years we've been asking him, but it's been pretty good this year. He's got it written all down. I reminded him.
But, mate, he's a handsome rascal, isn't he? I mean, you only just got to look at him, and they tell me they've had 3 or 4 people wanted the job, but he said, no, this is me.
I reckon he'd have that tip today to that horse running in Brisbane, I'd say. But anyway, it's great to see, and the interesting part about a lot of this too, Peter. We talk about the animals and the people, but what about the hats? all the different style of hats, and obviously hats aren't cheap anymore either. And there's so many vast different hats and caps in our industry and in Australia and worldwide now. And it's such a large business, and we see so many different styles, and maybe they need to have a hat competition.
Well, as you said, it depends how much you want to spend, but I went down and had a look at the Sydney Royal this year, and certainly there's a week's wages in a hat if you want to get up on the top shelf. And a lot of fellas walking around there that were all hat and no cattle, but anyway, that did happen. But what we see here today, there's I think there's a Stetson, and there'd be an Akubra, and as you say, those straw hats have come into vogue a little bit, and
There's too many brands to name. How's that sound, Peter?
it does.
So it's great to see all the various styles.
So is Dan equipped via Fitzmax with that lid that he's got on there in the middle of the ring?
Not real sure.
He said it's new. He said
Oh,
only
right, yeah.
about 3 payments to go on it, but
All right. Well,
I
that
would
would not
love him to
surprise
hop
me.
up here a little bit later on and tell us the origins of that hat.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, Peter, that impresses me always is the time and effort that these people put into these animals. And you don't get an animal this quiet just rocking up one morning and say, "Oh, here you go, Dolly," or "Here you go, Barney. Let's just have a bit of a play around." This takes months and months, and you can see that, and just the temperament and how quiet and how placid they are. And just remember too, a lot of these kids a fair few would have the animal that they own leading, but there'd be some out here that don't. See, look at that, Peter. I was just talking how quiet that was. The young lady there, and the beast just stood there and said, "You're right."
So anybody that's not particularly familiar with the beef industry, just as Darren said, this is not how they come out of the box. There's a lot of work goes into these animals, and that lovely young lady there that had a little mishap and just stood there and looked at her. So a little bit of reciprocated love, I think, in the ring there.
So there's plenty of activities going on, Peter. So there's numerous ones that we've talked about, and that's the beauty about Beef Week. It's not just about the cows; it's about the community, and it's about all the different business. Like there's a lot of businesses set up here and open today. There's businesses behind us. There's businesses up the front there. There's plenty of food. There's plenty of stalls. So there's a golden opportunity if you not interested in the beef industry, but the festivals caters for all the descriptions here that turn up.
So, mate, you being having a real good broad spectrum view of the village from the industry that you're in, it's just got a bit of a renewed feel about a casino. I mean, I don't live that far away, but I think it's sort of got a little bit more traction and it's blooming a bit. And is that generally how you see it?
Yeah, and from a real estate point of view, it's very, very interesting that probably in the last 6 weeks, we've seen a number of Melbourne investors wanting to buy in casino, and it has been pretty rampant in the last 6 weeks of inquiry out of Victoria, Melbourne, which is
That's very interesting because up on the tablelands we're getting Brisbane money. They're wanting to come out of Brisbane, but for Melbourne to want to come to casino, that's a wonderful thing. And there's obviously no chance we'd ever become a suburb of Lismore. It's we're here in our own right, aren't we?
we absolutely. Yeah, Peter, and it's look, at the end of the day, I think every town, doesn't matter where you go to in the Northern Rivers, they have their own identity, and I think that's what's so special about every town. And one thing's for sure, that casino would be the leader in a lot of areas as far as festivals are concerned. And it's recognised as the regional hub. So it's great to see. And we've seen some demographic changes too happen to our region a fair bit, and that's going to continue to happen whether you like it or not. We're going to have a population growth, and it's going to keep growing.
That comment that you made about that Melbourne money that's looking at casino, is that residential, or is there some business content in that as well, or mainly just that they see it as a residential opportunity?
Yeah, it is, Peter, but it's just very interesting, and obviously we're seeing another food chain wanting to come to casino with an announcement, and then in the last 48 hours there's been another couple of national organisations making inquiries on real estate in the casino region. So, Peter, and what better like at the end of the day, we do have a great lifestyle. You can go to Evans Head and have fish and chips within 40 minutes, I think it takes, give or take. A lot of people over Lismore are only 30, 35 minutes from the beach, an hour. And you've got to put it in perspective. Some of these importance, not that it doesn't at the moment, but I think it's significant in years to come, particularly with you see some of the weather events that are worldwide.
And who better placed than the Casino Food Company to be right in the middle of that? They've got a wonderful, wonderful history here, and I think they're sort of very market savvy, and they're going to be a very, very good fit as it grows and it grows. And
yeah, and they had they had a shareholders meeting yesterday. John would have been there. Some very interesting things came out of it.
We might even see if John might slip up a little bit later on and give us a little bit of inside info out of the shareholders meeting.
I don't think he wants that.
All right. Well, you have an amazing story to tell me about something.
But
no
it was
doubt.
great. The other thing I couldn't be there because I had to go there, but it was great to see, John, a number of larger shareholders turn up that generally don't turn up. And it was good to. I had a coffee with a couple of them at 6 o'clock in Lismore yesterday morning, and it was great to see them turn up. And they're major players in the industry as well as worldwide industry. And I won't mention any names, but they've won the world's best steak several times. And there, it was great to see the family turn up. Fashion Parade sold out, Peter. The Matty John show, or the thing they had there, it was sold out. The Bindery dinner was sold out. Like everything was sold out. The ladies' luncheon was sold out. Like it just gets, and you know, we're talking 200, 250 people at some of these events. So it was just the amount of catering and everything, the involvement there. So yeah, it's great success.
How did Matty Johns fit into the village? Did he?
You'll have to ask Brody about that one. Him and Matty, I could see them get on pretty well together.
Brody, when you've got a minute, and I know you're a great busy man there, but I'd like a bit of elaboration on you and Matty Johns.
Matty Johns must have liked the area because I'm led to believe he's turning up at the Workers' Club in July. So there you go, Peter. So he must have enjoyed the area, or he didn't expect that many people to turn up, so he thought he'd try his luck in Lismore. I'm not real sure which. So the judge at this stage, Jazz looks like she's selected her number that she is interested in. We're just waiting for a few more to go out. Have we got a few more to come in, or is there another class shed? Or that's it, rightio. So this is the final judging in the 15 and under.
So, Darren, this is 15 and under. We're going to do 18 and under. Then we'll have a junior champion parader. Then we'll have a 25 and under, and then the big superheated event, the Golden Oldies.
Have you noticed Gwen's not here?
I think Gwen to put some lipstick on getting ready.
But no, Peter, there's plenty to see, and don't forget the wood chops behind us. They go till 4 o'clock this afternoon, and that's sponsored by Lifestyle Real Estate. So thank you very much to them. They was born right here in regional New South Wales for a genuine passion for property, people, and the communities they call. So if you're thinking of Lifestyle, the values support, please support them as being one of the good sponsors as well. So, our major sponsor, the Australian Food Super, they've got a stand. Oh yeah, but they interviewed him the other night as well. Like he's getting it all the time, eh? We'll get him up here later on. So thank you very much for Australian Food Super. Been for more than 40 years. They've got a stand over there near the Beef Week office. Great to see Australian Food has been supporting hardworking Australians across the food industry. While their roots are firmly grounded in Australia's meat industry today, they proudly support members working right across the food chain. It's more than just a super fund. It's a community that stands behind the people who power Australian food industries. So please join him in thanking, and we all do thank them, the Australian Food Super, for their valued support.
Darren, seeing there's no mounted police this year, is there a street parade?
Yes.
It will
Yep.
continue?
And it's been, if you have a look here, Peter, it starts at 1:30.
That's early, isn't it?
Oh, well, we'll just see whether we're on time or not. But it's called the Brenda Arnold Street Parade.
And rightly so, rightly so.
I'm not going to announce that. That was short staff. Oh, very interesting. So it's also great to see all the stewards out there helping, Peter. Because obviously these sort of things need to work clockwise, and people need to timing, and there's obviously we've got to sort of run to a schedule, and we need these sort of young people and getting out there and getting it organised. So thank you very much to all them.
And look good doing it, Darren. May I say, take a lot of care in their presentation, and that certainly adds to it, fellas. So thank you very, very much.
You know what that's about, Peter?
Sorry?
Living at home. They don't have to pay anything.
Oh, right. Well, there's anybody that missed that little tip, stay home.
Dear, oh dear. But no, it's great to be able to be here with young people having a interesting show here to help out, and obviously Brody and his committee would have a number of young ones that probably don't get mentioned that do a lot of work, like the best PR blokes in the industry, Grant Shedden and Brody Lister. Like, they do know how to entertain the special people.
He's glowing in the warmth of your comments, our president there. So Matty Johns gave him a pat on the back, and Darren Perkins is giving him a pat on the back.
You know what? You can't get a pay rise off zero.
Yeah. So you've got a new events coordinator. They tell me Alex Curry took the reins as the event coordinator, and
I haven't met him, so I don't know.
And Holly Sheep, I think, might be the secretary this year, which is wonderful. Probably see Holly a little bit later on.
Too highly commended in this one, right? Oh, you're right. So some of these, as you get a little bit older too in these classes, Peter, there's more and more numbers. How many in the next class? How many? Thanks, Kate Hepburn. The one and only Kate Hepburn there, Peter. There she is over there. You won't miss her. Does a wonderful job.
Give me a bit of a smile, Kate Hepburn. Good work, thank you.
Bit of a larrikin, but she's a nice larrikin. So it's like we said there earlier, Peter, it's great coverage, like Channel 9 there, the Weatherman Dan, walking around there earlier, and I was having breakfast and I saw the coverage there, so that was great. And I don't know much about this Mr. Beast, but he's a YouTube follower, lady, Jack's Links, and 20 million followers. So if you're interested in that, you might be able to go up and see, or the Jack Links have got ones here behind. They've got the tower up at the community centre. So there's an opportunity to ask them about Beast. And apparently, this has been pretty quiet, but the three people flying in are from all over Australia to go into the competition for $1 million, the chance of winning $1 million here today, Peter. So
that is today.
That is today.
Here we go.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your patience as we've worked through all of these heats. I guess we've got some pretty big classes out here, so I haven't made comment on those heats as they've come out. In the interest of time, we've got a lot of cattle and handlers to get through here today. But I do hope the kids all feel that they've been seen out here. They've had plenty of time to show their skill out here. And this is a really tough age group to come through. There's some really tough competition throughout this final out here for all the handlers out here today. So very big congratulations if you got it through to this heat. Very well done. The young gentleman who's led the class off here today, for me, was a very clear winner all throughout his heat and throughout that final. He just really, I guess, owned this ring, but in a cool, calm, collected way, in that you don't necessarily even sort of notice him as a handler. You notice that animal out there, but it was those little things that made the difference in terms of just making sure every time I looked at that animal's profile correctly, that animal's head was leaning towards the judge. He was always displaying the best attributes of that animal to me at all times, which is what's edged him out over the young lady in second place. Again, another very good handler, very proficient in the way that she handles her leads. Both of these handlers, I think, were excellent in terms of the way they they utilised the ring. They knew where I was as a judge, knew where the other animals were in the ring, so they made the most use of that potential. I guess it was maybe that little detail in terms of not necessarily pushing that head around to that judge, or maybe not profiling that animal to me as a judge as efficiently as the gentleman in first place, which is those little things. When you get into these bigger classes, that efficiency does make a difference in that first impression when you're in these big classes out here. The young lady we've got in third place, again, has done a really good job out here, great control over her leads, and also very aware of where I was as a judge. And it's probably that ability to balance that animal and display that animal off, which is what has got her up in the lineup over our young gentleman in fourth place. The first of our commenders, I should say, in terms of, again, really good in terms of understanding where I was around the ring, really good control over his leads, maybe just didn't balance that animal up as efficiently as the three in the top of the line, but again, he's done a really good job in a strong competition to work his way to the top line. Again, the young lady we've got up and out next highly commended class. Again, she was out in that back line. She still knew where I was as a judge, kept her eye on what was going on, and was still checking to make sure her animal was nicely balanced, and she was happy with how it was presented at all times. What's got her up into our top lineup here today, but a great group of lineup of young handlers. The future of our competitions out here is fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Jazz. Before announces the winners, Brody, you told the wrong figure. Mr. Beast has 492 million followers. All right, I've just been corrected. So Mr. Beast has 492 million followers, Peter.
Well, I am not surprised, and growing. So, Darren, those names that you talked about earlier float to the top. And I can tell you in the 15 and under, very famous name was Rocky Fay. Second was Lacey Fay. And third was Annabelle Dean. Highly commended was Harper Gould and Kira Fowler. So, ladies and gentlemen, those we're talking about generations coming through the cattle industry and coming through Beef Week, and they're the proof is in the pudding. So we have Fays and Deans and Goulds and Fowlers, and it's a wonderful thing. And Jazz, I'd just like to give you a compliment. Very, very explicit in your wording with paraders, and a term I haven't seen a lot of, but they knew where the judge was in the ring. And I think there's a little message in there for up-and-coming paraders as to what to look for, but very, very nice feedback, and they'd all come away a lot wiser. So thank you very much.
All right, so we have now the 18 and under coming into the ring here. So we have 18 and under. With, there'll be a few more to come.
Darren, I know we put a fair few raps deservedly on the younger paraders, but ladies and gentlemen, these are 18 and under, and I'm just saying to Darren, just have a look at the class of young people that are leading these in the ring here. I mean, I don't think we've got very much to worry about with the youth of today when you see young people like this stepping up and putting their all into something like Beef Week, and it's just wonderful to sit up here and see what fine young people are involved in the industry.
Absolutely. And as you know, Peter, it doesn't matter which part of Australia you go to, the connection that the Northern Rivers has to the beef industry is absolutely massive, actually. It's like the breeding grounds for the cattle industry, probably more so than any other area I know. And a lot of these young people, you know, and I do travel a fair bit, and it doesn't matter what part of the country, there is some connection to the Northern Rivers, which is great to see. And you know, it's interesting. We talk about food and meat and everything else like that, but just even the connection our industry has going to Brisbane, the amount of people you run into a lot of places in Brisbane is incredible. So I've got a little question for you, Pete. Which school in the Northern Rivers, and it's west of Casino, mothers went to that produced 2 Wallaby players.
Being a rugby league type of a guy, I need to ponder on this. So it's west of
West of Casino. I'll let you have a think about that, and we'll talk about it later.
Were they backs or forwards?
Well, I'm going to give you a hint. One was is still the captain.
Right. And it's not Drake.
No, it's not Drake.
Drake.
There's
No,
another
I'm-
captain
I'm
out there,
still
but not for rugby union.
And it have nothing to do with the foot of the range out there, just before you climb the hill.
It could do.
Right.
You're getting warmer.
Right. I feel better about that. But I know I ask you this question every year, but where do you go looking for good young people to come into the industry? And let's use your industry into the livestock agency game and
Not 5 years. 18. Yeah, 18 under. Sorry, Pete.
and possibly like up and coming real estate agents. So what do you look for? And I know you put a heap of miles in and you'd see a lot of cross section of good young kids, but are they about?
I'll get into a bit of trouble here, Pete, while answering this question. Yes, they are. They are very. The challenge I have is that over the years, and probably more so the last 5 or 6 than previous, that is that we have had a influence of social media. Now, don't get me wrong, social media is very good, but losing that capability of talking to people and looking them in the eyes and things like that has probably been neglected a little bit. And in our industry, while technology plays a major in part, we still need people to be able to talk to people. And that's one little tip I'd like to give to some of these youngsters. In a sense, it's great to have the followers. It's great to have Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and everything like that. But there's still, and you can go through all the surveys and look everything there. The two most in the surveys we do, one is emails and one is connection to talking to people. And that's going to be the challenge for businesses in years to come. And, obviously we're hearing about AI and all that sort of stuff there. And, certainly if you have a look, my problem at the moment is all these companies that we deal with, corporate companies Australia-wide that are using outsourcing into foreign countries that you can't understand. Like it's very hard to, and I'm not going to name who they are, but everyone's got the same experience, and the amount of time that's wasted. I don't know yet, but we'll get there. Yes, yeah. Thank you.
So Darren, on that basis, good agents bought, good agents made. I mean, can you get a bit of raw material and mould some of these up and comers the way you want them? Or?
It's a bit of both.
Yeah, okay.
It's a bit of both. And don't worry, like everyone thinks, I know some very good agents don't even come from a rural background. You see that a little bit, and we see that a little bit in cattle buyers. I was sitting beside a cattle buyer the other night, and he came from the lamb industry, and look, at the end of the day, they don't necessarily have a rural background, but as long as they've got that passion, and that they've got to have that passion. And we're seeing a number of young ladies making a difference in the arena, and making a difference in a society that is dramatically changing. And I think that's great. And I think that the industry is. And you have a look out here, Peter, the amount of young ladies that have got involved to what it was 10 years ago. It was, and over the years we've seen agriculture probably have a dirty name, but I think as more of and that's one positive that the social media has done, Peter. It's shown people that don't know our industry what actually happens. And in our businesses, we've got people watching different things, and just the coverage worldwide of different connection. and things like that. And that is the number one thing that I think has helped a lot of businesses, and that's one positive in the social media outlet.
And I think what you touched on, and something I guess I've always admired about Darren Perkins, is your energy levels, and I think that to be a good agent and probably get in on the ground floor, and I guess certainly leave your mark on it. It's not 9 to 5. If you went into that game and thought you're going to start at 9 and go home at 5, it won't work. But they've
No,
got
it
to be
won't.
prepared to put in and put the miles in. But I think the rewards are there. And as we talked about, it's an industry that I don't think's got terribly many boundaries. I think you can go as far as you want to go in it. And if you're good at it, well, I think you're made for life.
Well, the interesting part to me is, Peter, the corporates and everything like that. Like, you get in our industry now in these people, like, you don't have to be in the cities anymore. That's what technology's changed as well. And there's major organisations in Australia looking all the time, and we've seen a couple of locals in the recent 12 months have gone into a very big organisation and doing a wonderful job. One's just got back from America and jumped in a plane and went back to South America. He comes from the Northern Rivers, and he's working for a major organisation that owns stuff in Australia and America. And there's those sort of jobs out there, and they are looking for people that are very passionate and are prepared to. And it's no different to any other business, Peter. If you want to get in and make it happen, you need to work at it.
And there could very well be some candidates in front of us now. I mean, they're obviously got an interest in the cattle industry and that, and I think if they're set their sights on something, well, all they need to do is go and touch the Darren Perkins of this world on the shoulder and say, well, can we do something? And
well, it's interesting because the beauty about the Northern Rivers is the lifestyle. Obviously, everyone understands the lifestyle, but it's very interesting. Like, a lot of people wouldn't know that some of the biggest corporate organisations have some of their leading managers live over in the Byron Bay hinterland. I know 3 or 4. They're not there much because they drive from there to Brisbane. And there's one lady that is probably, I'm not going to say who she is, but she has bought it, Billy Nudgell, and she is one of the leaders of the industry and has been involved in a supermarket chain as well as one of the largest listed ASX cattle properties. So, there's plenty of them sort of people moving to our area because of our lifestyle.
Darren, I see that you've spoken extensively about a lot of those sponsors, but great to see the agents sort of all down there, George and Foreman, and Ian Weir, and Ramsey Bulmer, and the McCormick family, and I mean they're all part of the scene, but again they're sponsoring Beef Week, and that's a wonderful thing. Riverina's been there for ages.
Is Alan Ramsey here?
I haven't seen
We
him
need
yet,
Alan
but-
here, actually. I don't know where Alan is, but Alan, if you are here, we have allegedly they found the Fraser Ramsey Memorial Trophy. So they've found that, and that's Fraser Ramsey sponsors for the Junior Champion Parader. I don't know where you are, Alan, but we'll need you soon if you're here, Alan Ramsey. So he did a wonderful job the other night for Windara at the Bindaree dinner, auctioned some eskies and meat. It was quite ironic because they were auctioning for a barista and a coffee machine, and Alan doesn't drink coffee, so that was quite amusing. So they raised Oh, I do stand corrected. I think $4,500 or $5,000 for Windara to get a new coffee machine. 7,000. Thanks, Brody. That's what I like being here, Peter. We've always got someone to correct us. I love it. So $7,000 there, and yeah, because I think he got more. Alan got more bids because they all felt sorry for him because he didn't drink coffee; he drank black tea.
No excuse for that. But how often do you go to somebody's place in the bush for a cup of tea and it's black and there's no sugar? If you're not going to have sugar, you might as well not drink it, I reckon.
Dear,
But I'm just touching again on Fraser Ramsey, and I see the trophy there for the Prater, and wasn't he an institution? I mean, I think he grew up around Benalbo, and I think he spent most of his life here. But wherever you'd go, anywhere, if you mentioned casino, they'd say, "Oh, Fraser Ramsey." So he left a footprint and did a lot for the town and the industry, and I think Al's where Fraser left off. So, and Fraser was up here with you guys for a lot of years. I think he might have been part and parcel of the announcing. And
and the interesting part was, and probably something that we're starting to lose is that the history that these people could remember. And that's also what a lot of social media has changed. The history, like it's on their phone, but Fraser Ramsey could get up here and he had the memory up here, and we have lost that a bit. And you know, a lot of these older gentlemen with a great history, it's just great to sit down and listen to them because I think a lot of history will be gone in 20, 30 years' time.
Well, it's got that sort of flavour about it. There has been a changing of the guard, and I guess being in regional areas, we notice that a little bit more, but. Again, in the same breath, I get you mentioned Thomas George, who has always been an integral part of Beef Week. I'm not sure if he'll be here this year, but
he's been very social.
Has he?
Yes.
Is he socially excitable, Thomas, or not?
You better ask him when he comes here.
But he will be putting an appearance in.
Well, he's put an appearance in every night, and led to believe he was at a local establishment for a while.
Well, I got to tell you, I went to the Gold Coast and
all right, so we have a situation with two cars in behind the car park here behind us, a Toyota, and what's the other one? Land Cruiser. And yeah, so you've got about 10 minutes to move it or it's getting towed away. All right, so there's two cars there that are in the road of where the float is. So you will be removed. White Toyota Hilux. CE94JX. And a Land Cruiser. 42284J, which would be a Queensland car, I would think. So please remove them very quickly. Because from what I've seen, if anyone on the tow truck industry gets a phone call, about 6 of them turn up and they take them straight away. All right, so the Jack Links, the first part of it starts at 9:30. Now, I don't know whether everyone believes me, Peter, but there's $1 million up for grabs today. $1 million, right? So this is fair income. It's no con job. It's not April Fool's or everything like that. So 3 contestants will go ahead for the chance to win $1 million in the Ultimate Crowd Pulling Challenge. Catch all the action in the community centre car park as competitors take on the 10-metre high Jet Links Tower of Beef. So it's 10 metres, right, out the car park here. Think Survivor meets Deal or No Deal, packed with suspense, big moments, crowd giveaways, and plenty of excitement. Starts from the action. Like I said earlier, they gave away about 5,000 packets of beef jerky so far. And like that is a large amount. I'm not real sure. Your beef jerky range from $5 to $15. So I don't know what bracket they fall into, but that's just incredible. But there is, like we spoke about, 3 people have been flown in because this was a competition that was run, and the $1 million is up for grabs.
$1 million
$1 million.
has to be handed on today.
The opportunity to.
Opportunity, righto? Is there
All right.
anybody here doesn't want to share in $1 million?
No. There's only 3 who are up for it. So unfortunately, yeah. But this has been kept a bit behind the scenes because of the size of the situation with it all. So it's starting off at 9:30 first stage. So Pete, we'll have the winners in a minute, mate. You know, they're working very quickly for us. So here you go, mate. It's even written down for you. Now look.
Okie doke, I'd like to announce the winners. First was Riani Dory. Second was Isabel Alexson. Third, Daniel Dory. And highly commended was Olivia Sens. So, Jazz, over to you, my friend. And is that another highly commended?
Isla. Just Fraser, sorry, Alan Ramsey. You about Alan Ramsey? Lila, somebody. Lila.
Another highly commended, but right up there racing with the leaders, Isla Van Mengerson. So well done. I'd like to run through those again. Riani Dory, second Isabel Alexson, third Daniel Dory, highly commended Olivia Sens, and also Eliza Van Mengerson. Jazz, tell us a story.
Thank you very much. And as we move into our older age groups, you're really starting to see the experience level of profession of these young handlers that have made it out here to the final. I think particularly with the top 5 that I've pulled out here today, I think you could probably place these any different way and be quite happy with the outcome. They're all very proficient in their skill level in terms of handling these animals. And I guess I've just had to come down to a personal preference and try and, I guess, pick it apart a little bit. So the lady I've gone with in first place here today, again, just really cool, calm and collected all the way through her heat and final. And I guess the thing that probably split some of these out of their heats and up to the top end of their final is their ability to still display those animals. So you got to remember these animals are out here representing studs. So they're out here on display to the people out here around the arena, which might be potential buyers. They might be looking for a new bull or a new female to add to their program. So it's a really important part for you as a handler to be able to just keep displaying those animals to the best of your ability, regardless of whether you're at the front of the line, the back end of the line, or even over there marshalling. And what these young people did, and that young lady did very well, is every time I looked around, didn't matter whether she was waiting over there marshalling or not, she still knew what was happening in the ring, had that animal standing up and presented really well, both to the judge and also the crowd around us. And that's really important, I think, as again, it was just that efficiency to be able to stand that animal up, which got over our young lady in second place. Really not much between these two. Again, really aware of where I was as a judge around the ring, aware of what her animal was up to. If that animal got out of balance, she made sure she stepped that animal back up, but made sure she tried to do that as efficiently as possible. And I think it was that efficiency of being able to balance that animal up, which is really important when you're out here in these big classes. Those first actions really count, which is what's got those 2 young ladies up over our gentleman in third place. Again, a really hot contender for the top end of this class, a very good rapport with his heifer, very good in the way he handles and walks calmly with that animal around the ring. Maybe the heifer just didn't want to quite play the game with him as well today in terms of balancing up and showing herself off as well. But again, he continued to persist with her, and by the end of the class, had her exactly how he wanted to to make sure she was displayed as well as he wanted to make sure she looked as good as she could. Again, really not so much splitting down to our two highly commendeds. Again, it was maybe just that efficiency of being able to balance and stand those animals up, and also where that animal was in the ring. So making sure I could get a good viewpoint of it. Every now and then those animals would creep across a little bit. So it's a little bit harder for me as a judge to be able to fully appreciate that animal. And I guess that's what I've had to use to split these ladies down the line today. But 5 very excellent paraders at the top end of this class. For those young kids, make sure you take a look at what these handlers out here are doing. Go and have a chat to them and see what you can learn from them for your classes in the future. Thank you.
Very, very well done, Jazz. I want to pass some comment on your commentary there. But, ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to welcome to the announcer's stand here, Mr. Alan Ramsey. We spoke about generations of people in the beef industry and contributors to Beef Week, and as I said, Fraser Ramsey, absolute legend, and Al doing a pretty good job of being a legend himself. So, Al, if you'd like to say a few words in regard to the best junior parader, certainly in my father, Mr. Fraser Ramsey. So, ladies and gentlemen, big welcome to Al Ramsey.
Well, thank you, Peter, and thank you, Darren, for the invitation once again for the family. Once again, the Beef Week have pulled it off. This event's been going now for 42 or 43 years on a Saturday. We've had a few close calls with the weather, but you wouldn't get a much better day than what it is today. Fine, sunny and cool. Just a pity the races couldn't continue yesterday, but that's a fact of life. But on behalf of the family, I'd like to thank the committee once again for the opportunity to award this trophy in the memory of a father. This is this is the 8th year we've done this, so it's away with everybody. And as you can see, a lot of cattle, lovely lot of paraders. They all tried their best. They're all very well trained up for it. And I wish them all the success. Thank you, Peter.
And like we talked there early, Peter, Alan did the auction for a coffee barista and bloody coffee machine and raised $7,000 being a tea drinker. So I think they felt sorry for him. They actually made more money.
Well, he did a wonderful job, and he was just going to have a little sip of my coffee. But he's going to go back to black tea.
Yeah, well, thank you, Darren, for the heads up. We had a wonderful night with the Benderee group on Thursday night for the beef industry, and I was lucky enough to be invited to do the auction again. They did the Windara group are trying to raise enough money to buy a new coffee machine to train the people to be baristas. I'm a black tea drinker, and I just gave them my opinion of coffee, and some received it and some didn't. But I better not give the comment here, otherwise I might get chased out of the main street. But anyhow, thank you, Peter.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we've had some fantastic young handlers come through the ring today. There's lots of young people with different levels of experience, but they're all out here giving it a red hot go. So please put your hands together for all the young people who've come through the ring this morning and our class winners out here today. Again, I commented on these guys as they came through their classes, and I think standing out here today, you've really got to admire and appreciate the skill of these young people to be able to display these animals really well. Again, it doesn't really matter how old you are. It's your ability and your skill to be able to handle that animal and display it off to the best of your ability. I think all 3 of these young handlers out here have a very bright future ahead in our industry. I'd be very happy to have all of them come and handle animals for me. I think they're all very proficient in their skill level and their ability. But today, for me, I can only pick one champion out here today, and it's the gentleman out of our class here today. Congratulations.
Rocky Fay.
Darren, just a couple of words. Keep coming back. A tremendous future, and
Well, you're talking about up and
relationship
coming.
with the beast.
Yeah,
And-
there's a young bloke there that's training to be an agent, Peter.
right. Well, can you just give me a bit of a thumbnail sketch about
Well,
Mr. Rock?
Mr. Rocky Fay would be and it was great to see Elizabeth Fay here. and the late Michael Fay's grandson. So there's a big connection to the Nettle Creek, Coppenhurst, Grafton breeding community, livestock community. So Rocky's been doing a bit of, well, I think he loves missing school. I think that's the big thing. I think his mother's given up on excuses for the teachers, so she just says, "Oh, he's working at the yards."
Well, he told me that school only interferes with his education. So, Rocky, when you're finished with the celebrities, you might wander back around here, and we'll talk to the butcher and not the block.
Absolutely.
We'll get the Rocky Fay story when you're free. So, ladies and gentlemen, they're in the ring. Mr. Alan Ramsey, certainly in memory of the great man Fraser Ramsey, with the champion Prater of 2026 Beef Week. And that name, Fay, Nettle Creek, synonymous with the cattle industry, with the Copmanhurst area and whatnot. That was a pretty tough job for Jazz because certainly 3 champion Praters there and a very worthy winner.
As you know, Peter, now we've got the 25 years and under. 25 years and under coming in, the Golden Oldies, and then we'll get straight into the heifer under 12 months program. All the stud animals come into the ring.
Darren, just, and I know I'm a heap of praise on Jazz out there in the centre ring, but she's an entertainer in her own right. I mean, what I like is the way that she is very descriptive in what she's looking for, and I think all these bright young people in centre ring will be a lot wiser because she's given them some very good tips as to what she looks for, and certainly some aspects of judging that I probably haven't taken paid full attention to over the years, but I think it's wonderful that it's not just about grabbing a beast by the lead rope and walking around in front of Jazz. It's certainly about placement. It's talking about relationship with the animal. It's talking about what you put into it before you actually get into centre ring, and certainly adds to the atmosphere, Jazz. So there's another pat in the back for you.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Her husband in the grounds here as well, and he judged Wednesday night and did a wonderful job. But you know, the big secret and the thing I love to see about judges is how fluently they talk about what they're talking about, and that always shows to me that they are very knowledgeable and they know how the system works, and their tips are always someone to listen to. So, doing a wonderful job there. Also, thank you very much to Society. Full job there. Please up for Beef Week out there to all the winners, and yeah, so we have the junior 25 and under. All right, we've got the first activation, Peter. So if anyone's interested to see this first activation of the Jack Link's opportunity to win $1 million, 2 key committee men, Brody and Grant, are heading down there now. That's at 9:30. So that's at 9:30, and then phase 2 will take place at 1 p.m. So the opportunity there, they've got the 10-metre high Jack Link care of beef. So that's happening right now in 2 minutes. So it'll be interesting there. And don't forget, the coverage is going on Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast, 492 followers. I'm going to have to look up this Mr. Beast. But we might even check him out in a minute and just see what it's all about. But yeah, this opportunity is happening now. So I think, gee, this was quick.
Now, Jazz, I will do an announcement here, and then I'll hand over to you. But in the 25 and under, we've got the lady with the text scribbling madly, and we have first Mr. Troy Hepburn, second Laura Golding, and third, Chelsea Golding. So there you're 25 and under handling. Jazz, your turn.
Thank you very much. And I guess as we get into older age groups, we're really starting to see that experience and professionalism I mentioned in our other age group. A lot of these young people are probably out here working in industry with these cattle, and they've come out here to see them still enjoying these sorts of events and having the opportunity, I guess, to display their skills out here as well. The gentleman I've gone with as a winner of this class here, I guess he really was a clear winner for me here in the class in terms of the way he displays this animal. That's a pretty big to get around the ring in a calm manner, and he's done a fantastic job in terms of displaying that the big bulls can be a lot harder to lead than what people might appreciate. They can start to get pretty lazy and really hard to keep that head up. So he's done a great job in terms of being able to make sure he's been able to keep that bull's head up, keep him looking as best as he can do. Again, when he stood him up around the ring, made sure he displayed that bull as well as possible in terms of having him really balanced. And it's probably that ability to balance those animals is what split the top three in this class, brought them to the top in terms of just making sure that animal's not too stretched, making sure each animal is unique and different, and you want to make sure that you're displaying that animal to the best of your ability in terms of showing off the good points of their structures. Maybe not stretching the animal out too far, making them not look as clean through that shoulder or as clean down through those lines through that hind leg as well. So that's what's got our gentleman up here in first place over the young lady in second. Again, probably not much between these two in terms of their proficiency. Again, very good in terms of the way they handle their leads. Again, keeping those bulls nice and alert and they're keeping their heads up. And I guess it was that ability to balance and understand what the best for that bull in terms of if I'm a little bit, he looks a little bit through that hip when you do that, which is what she's done compared to the young lady in second. Maybe just wasn't able to do that as efficiently as the young lady we have here in place here today. But again, was very aware of where I was in the ring, really good at handling her leads and did a really good job in terms of trying to display that animal for us here today. So a great group of handlers out here. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jazz, and congratulations there. And great to see the king of the donkey world take that one out, Mr. Troy Hepburn. So has a renowned reputation for having the king of the donkeys. So it's great to see there. Don't forget, we've got the Bindaree beef here with Mechanical Bull behind us. We've got the wood chips, we've got Jack Links, and we've got Mr. Rocky Fay here to be interviewed, being the junior parader for 2026, to be interviewed by Mr. Peter Zeller. Well,
ladies and gentlemen, I happen to be talking to one of the real champions of 2026 Beef Week, Mr. Rocky Fay. And as I said, he's a handsome rascal. And a couple of questions I need to ask you, Rocky. How old are you?
I'm 15 years old.
And where did you learn the trade?
Well, we do a few local shows down home, so we do a bit of practice at home. We own our me and my family, we have a Brahman stud down near Copmanhurst on a place called Rocky Creek, and we run a few Brahman cows, and we have a Brahman bull sale down in Grafton. The 7th of September, and we do a heap of practice at local shows and that, and I love parading and meeting new people and picking up new comments that the judge talks about me, and yeah.
Well, you certainly got to be a bit wiser with Jazz judging, because as I've said about, she tells you exactly what she's looking for. I've had a number of inquiries from over there under the veranda of the commercial. Have you got a girlfriend?
No, I don't actually.
Right, well, there you are, ladies. This is one of the eligible young bachelors in the cattle scene, and if you had to tell me, have you got a favourite agent?
Yeah, well, I do have a favourite agent down in Grafton, Donovan Livestock and Property. I work for them 1 day a week, and we also sell cattle through them, and they're the agent of our bull sale, and of course, George and Foreman are our agent as well, so. Yeah, Donovan Livestock and Property. If I had to pick two, I'd go George and Foreman.
Well, that's not a bad answer, actually. So I see you getting kicked in the shins under the table.
I paid him
but,
100.
You've come up with the right answer, but you never ever thought about being a radio announcer because you don't mind a yarn.
Oh, well, I do a bit of announcing now and then at a few local camp drafts, and when I grow up, I'm looking forward to being an auctioneer, a stock and station agent.
Well, I think there's a contract sitting there in front of you now if you'd like to sign today. So we're up to you. But, ladies and gentlemen, there you got it. The champion prater, Mr. Rocky Fraser. A big round of applause.
Well groomed by his father there, mentioning the bull sale, wasn't he, Peter? Or
Yeah.
mother. It might have been the mother, actually.
He knew when to drop a brick. So, well done, Rocky. You
so we've got the
spoke
gold.
extremely well.
Got the golden oldies out here, so they're 25 and above. Most competitive. So this will be the last class before we start going into the first of the livestock classes. The heifer under 12 months, and there's 25, I'm led to believe, if there's no withdrawals.
And as you said earlier, Darren, from all over the place. So certainly got a postcodes on the under 12 heifers. So she's got to present to us. So these are the golden oldies. So if you had a look at their birth certificate, sort of they're all just marginally over 25. All low mileage, I can tell you.
So, Pete, what I'm going to do in a moment, when the first of these classes, I'm going to take the microphone. I'm going to go down here and interview a couple of people. I'll leave you in charge, and we'll just have a chat to a couple of people there that have had a long standing with Beef Week, and I might even pick out a couple others that we've never seen here before as well.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, so the next class is the under 12s to come.
Okie doke, courtesy of the High Wire from Gweddy Dockrell. First in the Golden Oldies was James Dockrell. Second was Trinette Schofield. And third was Mick Elliott. So there you have it. Now, Jazz, how did you come up with this decision?
I was going to have a little bit of fun with these guys and maybe take some canes off or swap some animals around. But in the interest of time, I thought maybe we better not do that. The gentleman who leads off this class here today, he's probably got an animal that's probably actually a little bit harder to handle. He's made this look a lot easier than what it probably is. This animal's pretty green out here, but he does actually make this look a lot easier. But again, still took the time to balance that animal up. Again, understands what animal's at in terms of its experience level out here. He's been confident with it to keep it nice and calm and understanding. But again, just that good control over leads, I think, is something that's really important and shouldn't be undervalued in terms of knowing the capability of yourself and your animal out here, and from a safety perspective, making sure you have really good control over those leads when you need it. The lady we've got here in second place, again, a very proficient handler in her own right, able to stand that animal up and balance her. And again, you're seeing the experience level of these guys as they come out in the ring in terms of understanding where they need to be to place those animals, understanding where I am in the ring as a judge and how to display those animals to the crowd. And the gentleman we've gone with in third place here today, again, he's got a much smaller animal out here in the class, but again, made sure he had that animal really well displayed for me as a judge and also to the crowd to be able to appreciate that animal as well. So that's what's got him into the top line here today. But please put your hands together for our Golden Oldies class out here today. Great to see them all out here enjoying this event, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show. I think this is my last class, so I'd just like to say a very big thank you to my stewards and marshals out here that have helped make this event flow really well. It's certainly a very unique ring, having a few flagpoles and things in the middle, but they've certainly made it work very easily, kept those animals flowing really well to ensure those kids have had a really good time out here in the ring. A very big thank you to all the kids that took the time to present their animals out here today, and a thank you to the committee for the opportunity to judge here today. It's certainly been a pleasure to be part of such a unique and events like to everyone involved behind the scenes making this a thank you.
And I think you've won your professionalism and certainly very explicit. Now, hopefully Darren Perkins might be lurking about in the crowd and going to do some on the spot. So
here at the